use is found in Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act and functions to limit the exclusive rights of the copyright owner. Federal law states fair use requires no permission from the copyright owner to use the work and is not an infringement of copyright, and provides a number of illustrative examples of potential fair use, including criticism.
Welcome to Noshü is Live. My name is Noshü. Break it down. Tink da, tink it, tink it, buck it down. Tink da, pick it, bong, I tink da, pick it, bong, tink da, break it down, tink on. Oh, welcome to Noshü is Live. My name is Noshü. If this is your first time here, you're alone because you're the first one here ever live. Never once in December, January, February, March, not once in 3 months of being live every single day have I ever had a live viewer. I haven't told anybody about it, so there's no reason for anybody to know that I exist. It's just funny that nobody, not even accidentally, stumbled across me. It's crazy, man. But what I was going to say is, if you're watching, I'm going to guess you're watching this on a replay kind of situation. If you like this kind of nonsense, please subscribe, share, like, notification. There's a bell thing you got to do. Kobe! My road dog just walked in and he just walked out. Love of my life. Kobe, he's going to be 18 years old in 2 weeks from tomorrow. 18 years old, and he's looking fucking sweet. Proud of him. Love him, and I'm so proud of him. All right, so today is Love Sharing Sunday. Share the love on Sunday. Share the love on Sunday. Calm down. I'm about to go off on a place that I'm not quite sure I'll be able to return from. But anywho, Love Sharing Sunday. I want to talk about the Fourth Estate. I have so much love for the Fourth Estate. I sound like Donald Trump. Nobody loves the Fourth Estate like I love the Fourth Estate. I created the Fourth Estate. Anyway, but before I get to that, on this Love Sharing Sunday, speaking of love, Stormy Daniels was on 60 Minutes tonight, and she said, oh God, this might go long because, all right, she said something about, he was acting like a dick early when they met privately, and she said something like, I should spank you. Like he's got some kind of paper or magazine or something in his hand. Oh, she said he was talking about himself all the time, like when they got together privately. And he said, let me show you a picture. Let me show you a magazine that I'm on the cover of. And she said something like, is that how you, I'm paraphrasing because this was 60 Minutes, but she's like, is that how you get pussy? Talk about yourself? And she said he was shocked. He was like, what? Nobody talks to me like that. And she said something like, I should take that magazine and roll it up. No, has anybody, or I'm horrible at these storytelling things. I should, or someone should take that magazine from you, roll it up, and spank you. And she said, I said, give it to me. Give me that. Give it to me. And she told him to take his pants down, and she spanked him on the butt with the magazine with his face on the cover. That's the president of my country right there. That's the country. It's not even debatable. It's the greatest country in the world because its purpose is to give any of its citizens the freedom to pursue the life that they want to pursue without persecution. Where else on the planet is better than that, right? That's what this country was built on. And now we have a president who pulls his pants down to be spanked on the butt by a porn star. While, because that might not be bad, that might be somebody's jam. That's how they get down. While he's married. Okay, people have affairs. Oh, excuses, excuses. I've been there, believe me. While his wife is taking care of a newborn. That's the president that we have right now. Our president does that kind of thing. And then he sends thugs to shut her down, keep her quiet. Allegedly. This is all alleged. I don't know shit. I'm sitting here in the back of a trailer. I don't know nothing about nothing. I'm just talking out of the side of my ass. I told y'all that from the beginning, so you shouldn't expect anything differently. But getting back to the story, we have a president who allegedly gets spanked by porn stars while his third wife is at home taking care of a newborn of his and hers. If you wrote that in a screenplay and tried to sell it in Hollywood, they would say this is a comedy, first of all, and is fake. It's obvious. That's what our president. And then, in addition to that, the porn star gets threatened to shut her fucking mouth. And then, on top of that, she signs a non-disclosure agreement, allegedly forced to because of the pressure and the threats, gets paid $130,000, and then, but the lawyer signed it. The lawyer for the possible president signed it, but the president didn't sign it. And this non-disclosure agreement happened to occur a couple of days before the election, and the money was paid for possibly to Stormy Daniels as a campaign violation, which could be a crime that the president and or his lawyer, your Michael some shit, looks straight out of The Sopranos, might be guilty of. If I'm dead in the next like 5 months and it's suspicious or natural, you know exactly what's up. Somebody took me out and their name rhymes with thump. So that's our president right now. That's our president. And how did we find out about this Stormy Daniels stuff? Her and some other Playboy model, do they call them Playboy models? Told their stories. They signed non-disclosure, and then they were selling their stories to like In Touch or those kind of like tabloidy kind of things. But then they got shut down with the non-disclosure. Blah, 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 blah. And then you get some reputable journalists like the Wall Street Journal, or some people will not call them reputable, but I will for the sake of this bit. Washington Post, New York Times do some digging, and they find out crap about Stormy and all this stuff. If it wasn't for like journalists, whether you call them journalists or not, I call them journalists, but I respect if you call them fake news. If you call them fake news, that's your prerogative, but I don't call it fake news. I repeated that because I was going to say something else that would have pissed those guys off, and I'm not trying to piss anybody off. So we find out the Wall Street Journal, or Wall Street Journal's conservative. They're Rupert Murdoch, if I'm not mistaken. But Washington Post, New York Times, they dig them, and you find out about Stormy Daniels. There's her picture of him and her and Trump together. What this leads me to is the fourth estate. The fourth estate is a concept. Now, I'm going to fuck this all up, but hang with me. It started in Europe, this idea of the fourth estate. Meaning like you have a civilization, and you've got three estates, meaning like three constituent groups. You got the clergy, the religious people. This is the beginnings of this fourth estate idea. You got the clergy. They have a lot of influence. Then you have the, what do you call them? Like the royals, the nobility. And then you have the commoners. That's three estates there. We'll call those three estates. And in America, that idea would be like the executive branch, like President Trump. It'd be like the legislative branch, Congress, and then it'd be the judicial branch, like Supreme Court, judges, all that kind of shit. In America, the fourth estate would be legitimate journalists. Being the fourth estate, they're not legal. They're not like in America. In America, where all of these branches have their legal and constitutional kind of things, the fourth estate is kind of a citizen-given authority, almost on the same level as these, because they report shit. They let you know what these fuckers are doing. The judicial branch is over there fucking just making court decisions about your women's bodies or about marijuana usage. How would you know what the fuck they're doing if somebody is not over there reporting that shit, watching it, and then bringing it back to you to report it to you, so you say, "Huh, I didn't know that was going on. Now I know that's going on, so I can have an opinion." Oh no, we can't do that. That's copyright right there. That's a no. This show is going so long, but I don't give a fuck because this shit is so important. It's so important, and someday somebody's gonna look at this and they're gonna learn a piece of shit information. So, fourth estate. If Donald Trump is our president right now, and he's doing a lot of stuff over there in the White House, signing executive orders, doing all this shit. And if there were no reporters, journalists there watching, reporting, and then reporting this shit back to you, when I say watch, recording, and then reporting this shit back to you, how would you know? And then how could you go out in the streets like these young people did over the weekend, march for our lives, and march all over the world? Man, these kids, I'm so fucking impressed. I did 2 shows on them like earlier this month. No, in February. The shooting in Parkland happened on February 14th, Valentine's Day. And I did a couple of shows on them because I'm so impressed by them. I really am. It's like it almost brings me to tears because it lets me know that if I had, I'm not going to retread shit that I've already talked about, but man, if I had kids, I would feel like, I don't know if the planet's going to survive because of all of the environmental shit and wars and everybody's got nukes and shit like that. I don't know if kids are going to grow up to be old people and their kids are going to grow up to be old people. But what I do know is there are some dedicated young people. Fuck the millennials. I've been talking about them for a while. I made a mistake. This is Generation Z, and I didn't make a mistake. Go and look at my shows. Generation Z, these high schoolers, these people under 20, whether the planet is going to survive or not, they are active. They care. And they are organized. They know how to communicate. They're eloquent on camera. They're the whole package. The world is safe as safe as the world can be in the hands of the old people that have it right now, waiting for these young people with balanced minds. They grew up in a world where there was a black president. They grew up in a world where multiculturalism is kind of a known quantity. Like segregation is almost like an unknown quantity to a lot of them, except a lot of patches of the country. I understand that, but God dang it. If it wasn't for the media, whatever you want to call them, mainstream media, legitimate media, if it wasn't for the media, the fact that on February 14th, Valentine's Day, all of that happened, we wouldn't see it in the detail that we see it in, you know? And that over 1 million people, or close to 800,000 to 1 million people showing up on the Capitol yesterday. So, how many of you know what the fuck? And this is no insult, just I'm asking. Do y'all know what the press is doing on a daily basis to try to get this information for you? And I'm going to focus right now specifically on one branch of our 4 estates, the executive branch, the White House. Do you know what's going on in? Do you know how you're getting the information that you're getting to make the even limited decisions that you're able to make based on the limited information that you're getting? Do you know how you're getting that? Do you care to know how? If you're a parent, do you care to know the direction, specifically the direction that the leaders of the country are taking your country in? Meaning 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now, this is the land that your kids are going to be running and ruling. Do you know where it's going to be? Do you care to affect the direction it goes in? Do you want it to be a certain way for your kids? Do you need to know the direction it's going so you know if you should jump on board to help the direction it's going, or if you should jump on board to try to pull the brakes because it's not going in the direction you're going? And then you and like-minded people like yourself can get together and as a unit stop the direction it's going in. Do you know how you're getting the information? Is it Facebook? Is it bots? Is that how you're getting your information? Do you know how that the 4th estate, as it relates to the executive branch, and this is my uneducated talking, is the White House correspondents from all the major news outlets. Fox, NBC, ABC, AP, Washington Post, New York Times, all of them. And they ask the questions that the White House doesn't want to answer, because people in power don't really, once you get to power, you don't want to show how you wield that power. But as the 4th estate, journalists are there to ask those questions and demand on our behalf responses to the questions. What the fuck are you doing over there? You're taking money that are being paid in taxes and you're doing shit. What is it that you're doing? Do y'all even know what they're asking? Do you know what they're digging for? Anyway, what I did was, I was going to do it for the whole month, but I was going to put a month into this one little segment. I just took one day. This was the press conference the day after, and that was a crazy day. This is the day after our president, the president of the United States, spontaneously decided that he would meet with Kim Jong-un. Spontaneously, because that wasn't I'm not going to get into it. But this press conference is the day after he decided to make that earth-shattering decision to meet with Kim Jong-un. No, without consultation. I'll do it. The South Koreans had just met with the North Koreans. They were meeting other people in the White House. Trump heard that they were in the White House. It's like, let me go and see what I can find out. They said, hey man, the South Koreans were like, we were up in the north. They sent in a little invitation, verbal invitation, mind you, not even in writing. So these are the interpretations of the invitation by the South Koreans to the president. All that being said, Trump said, sure, I'll meet with him. Hell yeah. And then had the South Koreans go outside the White House, use the White House as a backdrop to make the announcement that the president was going to meet. Anyway, that happened that day. The next day, Sarah Huckabee Sanders gave a press conference. And of course, there were a lot of questions about what the fuck just happened yesterday. Now, I just left in the questions. This is a rough edit because I just wanted you to hear the questions so that you know what the Fourth Estate is doing on your behalf. I cut out Sarah Huckabee Sanders' answers because she doesn't give answers. She never gives answers. She just gives, if you listen to the cuts, you'll see they always start, I'm about to bring up some bullshit right now. So I cut that out because it's a waste of your time. You don't need to hear it because she doesn't really answer the questions. The point of this is to listen to the questions that are being asked on behalf of you, talking to Americans. As an American citizen, on behalf of you, by the Fourth Estate. Take a look at this.
Sarah, what are the considerations that are under discussion for the location that this meeting between the president and Kim Jong-un would take place?
Yeah, John, sure.
The South Korean National Security Advisor said that the U.S. responded positively to a South Korean request for a waiver on the steel tariffs. Can you tell us where you are on that?
John.
Sir, does the president think that Kim Jong-un is sincere about talking about denuclearization?
Korea.
But does he think that Kim Jong-un can be trusted as a negotiating partner? Said about this news. He said, a word of warning to North Korean President Kim Jong-un, the worst possible thing you can do with Donald Trump in person is to meet with him in person and try to play him. If you do that, it will be the end of you and your regime. Is Lindsey Graham reading the president correct on that? Is that
Jeff.
Sarah, why did the president accept this invitation without any preconditions? For example, without demanding that the North Koreans release the 3 Americans that are being held there? You just said that now. Do you think that a 2-month time period is enough time to make sure that they will actually fulfill those promises? He said he wants to do it by May.
Sarah just said they promised to denuclearize. Have they promised to denuclearize, or have they promised to talk about denuclearizing?
Yes.
Before the meeting.
Yeah.
Sarah, isn't the president giving Kim Jong-un exactly what he wants, which is respect and stature on the international stage? This won't be any more than a photo op. Kim Jong-un gets his equal footing, in his view, on the world stage with the leader of the free world, and the president gets nothing.
Officials at the White House and the Pentagon seem to be taken by surprise by the announcement. Was this done in a haphazard way? The president came here to the briefing room, though, before reaching out to the president of China. Is that appropriate? Should he not have reached out to his international partners first before making the announcement here?
Look, how will the president and the United States be able to verify this before the meeting? How will they be able to verify the denuclearization? The president has said repeatedly that previous presidents, his predecessors, have mishandled this and misplayed this. Why can he be so confident that this is the right move when just in October he was telling his own Secretary of State it would be a waste of time to talk directly? If I can just ask, who would he like to have with him at the meeting? His Secretary of State, I mean, there is not an ambassador now in South Korea. Does he plan to staff up more before this meeting?
John.
Thanks a lot, Sarah. The North Korean government has made promises before. They've reneged on those promises in 2 prior administrations. What's different now? Why should we trust Kim Jong-un now?
Francesca.
Has starved his own people. He's murdered his own people. You could say he's responsible for the death of Otto Warmbier. Why put him on the same stage as the President of the United States?
Moving on from that point, can you kind of explain to us how this did end up coming about last night? Because we had the President pop his head in here at roughly close of business and say to supporters who were around that there was going to be this announcement.
Maybe that's y'all's close of business. Our hours must be a little later than y'all's.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you guys were all still here.
His head in here though and said that there would be an announcement coming around 7 p.m. from the South Koreans. Then the White House ends up telling us that it will be here on this property. Then it wasn't until an hour after that that you even sent out a statement affirming the details, some of the details, not the May part, of what this announcement that President Trump would be meeting with Kim Jong-un. Can you walk us through how that all happened, from the president popping in here to the fact that a South Korean official, not the White House, briefed us on our own property outside?
To Peter and to Jeff, there's a black hole when it comes to intelligence as to what's really happening in North Korea. What is going to be put in place specifically to qualify and quantify what is actually there? When you talk about denuclearization, what are you denuclearizing? How many? We don't know specifically. What is in place? Are you going to employ world bodies beyond what you have? What is in place? What do you plan on doing? That's very important. When you have something, some kind of meeting of this nature, it's very important to understand what is in place. Because he could say, I'm denuclearizing and not denuclearize everything.
Deborah?
I have a California question. Wednesday, Governor Brown said that Donald Trump was declaring war on California. Now, I know that the president's given Jerry Brown money to his campaigns before. Have they talked on the phone recently? And when the president goes to California next week, will it be war or will it be peace?
John?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Two brief questions. Stating the date coming up and who might accompany the president or who's expected to accompany them, could we assume then that General McMaster will remain National Security Advisor throughout the duration of the negotiations?
I have no reason to believe otherwise.
And that means, so it could be in the fall of this year, it could be later, but he'll still be on there to advise.
Look, I don't have. Go ahead.
Thanks. Different policy questions for you, different issue. 3 weeks ago, the president came out in a speech and said, we're going to have the largest nuclear force ever. Hopefully, we'll never have to use it. We're going to be so far ahead of everyone else in nuclear like you've never seen before, far in excess of anyone else. And as far as disarmament, he said, we won't lead the way. We will go along with them. The day after that, OMB Director Mulvaney came in here and said that you all were going to spend close to, or proposing to spend close to $50 billion to upgrade and enhance the nuclear arsenal. Week after that, the president or the head of Russia came out and said he has a first strike weapon. Now, whether or not you believe that he has a first strike weapon, isn't it inherently dangerous for the owners of the two largest nuclear arsenals to engage in brinkmanship? And why are we abandoning our role as a peacemaker in disarmament? Global thermal nuclear war we're talking about. You don't come back from that. Isn't it dangerous to talk about brinkmanship?
I think it's one last question, Hallie.
Denuclearization.
Just two questions, Sarah, clarifying what you've said from the podium. Is there a possibility that these talks with North Korea with Kim Jong-un may not happen? Possible that could not happen. And then second, you said from the podium, you acknowledge that the president, to follow up on April's question, knows about the arbitration involving Stormy Daniels. So does he remember speaking with his lawyer about that? Does he remember meeting Daniels back?
Quickly on North Korea, what specific steps is the president taking to prepare for this major summit with Kim Jong-un?
Fourth Estate, Executive Branch Edition. Thank you very much, you all. Hang tight. Thank you so much for watching Noshü is Live. Love sharing Sunday. If you like this bullshit, and it is bullshit, please like, subscribe, and share. Share with your friends. Let them know what nonsense you're watching. Be embarrassed. You should be. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back mañana. But actually, I'm about to do another one live right now, but I don't tell nobody. If you see Liza Koshy, please tell her I said bye.